and everything is good. Whew, computers, they're wonderful when they work, eh? And, oh, there's Carolina, very good. Who else do we have here? All right, so and there's Eva. All right, guys, good morning. We are officially recording. I hope you guys are doing all right. What are we now, week 10? I don't know. Does it week 9? Does it really feel like we've been at this there for 9 weeks? But I just wanted to show you guys here, and I'll screen share. Share the screen. Good. And I just want to show you guys there the syllabus, just to make sure that you guys are all on track. You guys will remember there that I've changed. The quiz 2 was originally here, because I was thinking there the anatomy physiology might be a little heavy. But you know what? You guys are how you guys did on your last quiz and your last test. I'm very proud. So we'll just keep it all going. So I've moved quiz 2 here to next week. Okay, just to be clear. And this is for both my groups here. So because I know that some people they can't attend the afternoon, so they come to the morning or the video there. Generally, it's just, I teach you guys the same thing anyway. So what is going to happen there for quiz 2, okay, next week, is this week here where, last week and the week before there, I started making a mention there of the gravitation, the movement towards humanness. And yes, this course is a microbiology course, and it will assist you in identifying and prevention, infection control, all these things, all these different kinds of microorganisms. But the whole point of this is for humankind, right? And we are now making this move kind of towards humanness here. And you'll see where we're at there. There's only 4 lectures left. Oh, sorry. There's only 4 lectures left. Okay. Last week there we covered surgical procedures, surgeon's preference cards, emergency codes, these kinds of things, because these are commonplace terminology things there that we use all the time in a hospital setting, right? This week here, it's more of a vocab week, and it's about medical terminology, anatomical terminology, these kinds of things here. And we're making this move there back towards humanness. Okay, and next week there, be prepared for a heavy one, because I know this course. I've taught all aspects of this course there before, but in all fairness, the next time I teach this course, I might do anatomy physiology in 2 weeks, and I got given this, yeah. So it'll be a good one there next week, because we're going to cover a lot, okay? And we're going to, and with anatomy physiology, and I think I've said this to you guys there before, the first part of understanding disease is you have to understand the body, right? And you got to know how the organ systems individually work, all the way down to at the cellular level, but then the body works in a macro kind of way, right? Because all the organ systems there, they work together. That's the first part. After you guys, have the anatomy and physiology down, then you take what's called a pathophysiology course. And the pathophysiology, oh my gosh, that course is so much fun. You start to learn the devious and diabolical nature of how these diseases circumvent the body's defense mechanisms, right? Even for medication, we've talked about this, right? The more antibiotics you give, the more chances you give bacteria there to create variant strains that are immune to your medical practices. So anyway, that's what's going on there. So what we're doing there for quiz 2. Quiz 2 will cover week 7, 8, 9, and 10. Quiz 2 will open up after class next week, so sometime in the afternoon. Okay, probably 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, somewhere in there. Or I might open it at 9 o'clock. We'll see. But anyway, it'll be the same for both classes there. And I will leave it open for a week. Again. All right. And it'll be open there for a week because I'm going to show you, I'm going to open up anatomy physiology there next week. And it's a bit of a beast. Well, it's the body in one class. Okay. And we're going to hit as much as we can. We'll go nervous, and we'll go lymphatic, and we'll go blood, and we'll go bone, and we'll go muscle. We did a bit of muscle there. We're going to do, you see what I'm doing there is this week here, I'm kind of introducing some anatomical terminology into it so that next week there, when we hit this, we're going to hit it pretty well. A lot of the words there that you hear there next week, you'll already kind of have a good grasp and understanding. Okay, so the quiz will be open there for a week. It should be done there before the beginning of test 2. Okay, and test 2 will open up November the 20th, okay, at 9 o'clock for both classes, okay, and it will be open, okay, until midnight that same day. Okay, so the quiz, I'm going to give you a week to do it. All right. And the reason I'm going to give you a week is because I'm giving you the class information the same week. So it gives you the week to read over anatomy and physiology, watch the video again and again from YouTube. There's questions to do there. I've got some questions there that I've included. And yeah, so it'll take you a while to get the anatomy physiology down to where you feel comfortable. And when you feel comfortable there, the quiz will be there. Okay, the quiz will close 9 a.m. on Saturday, November 20th. Okay, and this will all be written in there, and I'll remind you guys, but you guys will have a lot of time there. So it's just telling me now participants can now just see my screen. Hi, so the quiz covers everything we tackled since the beginning. No, good question, Eva. Love it. The quiz will tackle, we're just focusing on week 7, 8, 9, and 10. But really, the information there that we covered back in, it's, we're not hitting any of this stuff here. Okay? And does that mean that there might not be a question from here? The questions will all be related to here. But that doesn't, you know what I mean, with microbiology, anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, all these things, there are these concentric circles that do overlap in some way. So the focus is going to be here. Does it mean there's not going to, everything, all the questions there that you'll need to find answers for, you'll be able to find it in the week 7, week 8, week 9, and week 10 PowerPoints. That's it. Okay. So, good question there, Eva. Thank you very much. Benjamin. Hi, Ian. It's Jonathan. Okay, I don't know either there, Jonathan. I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Ian.
Hi, how's it going?
I was using my computer downstairs that actually had my name on it, and I wasn't able to log into the course. And then I went upstairs to my dad's computer, and I was able to log in. It was weird. It said access tonight.
Don't tell me these things. Okay. I'm joking. Honestly, Jonathan, I have no idea. I don't know. But I am thankful that you made the effort and are using your dad's computer. That's great. I don't have an answer for you, but I'm glad you're here nonetheless. I don't know if this issue persists. You might want to give IT a call. I don't know, because maybe it's utilizing somebody else's. I have no idea. But Jonathan, keep me posted on that, please. So that's what's going on there for the quote unquote second part of this course, right? Okay, so again, if you just signed in late, we're gonna start introducing medical terminology and anatomical terminology today. I like today's class. It should be. I won't keep you here forever, but it's fun stuff. Next week there, we'll have anatomy physiology for my morning class at 9. We'll have it at, we'll meet you guys there at 1 o'clock there for my afternoon class. And so we'll do anatomy physiology. It'll be a good one. Okay, if you just came in late. Then quiz 2 will open up there next week afternoon after class. It'll be open there for the week, okay? And because I want you guys to look at the anatomy and physiology, because it is going to be a little hectic. And it's not like anatomy physiology is hard stuff. It's just we're tackling the terminology there. You know, welcome to the Latin, welcome to the Greek there this week, okay? And I do want you guys to watch the video there a number of times if you can, and just go through the exercises. And your quiz 2 will be open all next week. I'll open it up next Saturday afternoon. It'll be open there for the week. It will close there just as the test opens. And the test will open week 11, okay? And it'll open at 9 o'clock for both classes, and it will close. I'll probably close it at like 12 midnight or 1 o'clock there in the morning, but it'll close there the same day. But you'll have 12 hours to do it. The quiz will be about 30 to 35 questions. And thank you guys for your feedback. I guess there's just so much information in this course. And to what I might do, the next time I teach this is make quizzes every week. 10 question quizzes every week, because it just seems that there's too long of a gap in between, tests in this course. And, the more tests you have, the more routine tests become, and the less significant they become. Because me personally, I'm not a big fan of tests. I don't think tests are a great indicator of your knowledge, okay? Especially in this course here. I would have you all in the labs and all these, but you can see how this course can be augmented and changed. This is the first time I've taught it, and I've already made some changes, and I'll continue to make more. But your quiz will be around 30-35 questions. You'll have a week to do it, okay? And your test, I'm thinking around 30 to 40 questions. I think I had 70 some in there, but somewhere in there, okay? And the test will be on the same day there. It'll open and close on the same day. If there's anyone who needs, if there's any issues with that, let me know. We still have time, okay? And that's the way I like to work these. There's a syllabus and all this, but there should be a little bit of flexibility. So if there's any issues with anything there, as far as scheduling goes, shoot me an email and we'll talk. And we have time to make changes if things need to be changed. Okay? And you'll see there after test 2, we have MDRD workflow and design. And then we have WMIS. It's more about quality control and standards, policy. That's what all this is going to be. And then that's it. The final exam. Okay. And I'll start talking about that there probably week 12. I don't want to I don't like talking about multiple tests at the same time. So we're just focusing on here, but you will see there that we have 2 classes and then we have the final. And that's it, man. That is it. And proud of all you guys. You guys are still kicking the can, and you guys are still doing it well, and just keep on going. Just keep on going. I didn't check my emails since yesterday morning, so if I've missed anything, let me know. But we'll talk, and I hope you guys are doing well. How are we doing? We good? So that's our plan, okay? And we're almost there. A month away, and the course is done. I think we finish on what, December the 11th? Yeah, right there. And it is now November the 6th. So we got a month to go. Don't you dare take your foot off the gas pedal. You guys just keep on trucking. You keep on moving. Keep on asking questions and keep fighting. All right? I love it. Any questions there for you guys? Are we all right? Be quiet, Ian, and let's get on with this. Sounds good to me. All right. Let me get my ducks in a row here. Just okay. So this is what we got right here, and you guys can't see anything because I'm not sharing. There we go. And you'll see here that this is what I put into this week's here folder. Okay. And can you guys see me here? I don't know if you guys can even see me. Yes? There we go. You guys can see me. Okay. So this is what we've got here. We've got week 9 anatomical terminology. All right. And yeah, it's a good one. Okay. I'm gonna introduce A&P because next week I can't, you can't do A&P in one class. So I'm kind of fast forwarding things there a little bit, but it's all according to the schedule anyway. You'll see here in MDR, and you'll see here that this says week 8. This came from, they provided me with some material there from the person there who taught the course last. And, the majority of it, okay. And I've tried to remove as much as these stuff I didn't like as I could. But you'll see here, this one here says week 8. It's not, it's week 9. It's all PDF, and I didn't want to change anything. And it's kind of good on its own. Okay. And this one here, I'm just going to move this down here. I don't really know where to put this because this seems to be interfering all over the place. Maybe put that there. There we go. Yeah, it says week 8, but it's for week 9. And you'll see here, all this is just definitions. And you should, like, deionized water. You've seen this there before. You know what it is. We've talked about it. It's red cap there, the Culligan red cap. And all this is just showing you guys medical terminology, acronyms that are used in a hospital or a health professional setting. Okay? And we'll talk about all these. And but I'm not really going to talk too much. This PowerPoint here, I'm going to kind of leave to you guys on your own, and you guys can do some research. All these things here, they're easily Googleable as long as you maintain your focus on a healthcare setting, and I'll leave theirs to you guys there to go over. Okay, so that's that one there. Your anatomical terminology, which we'll do there now. And I've given you guys some questions there, and we'll go through these there after we finish. And some of these questions there, they will apply to next week, okay? But I'm foreshadowing. That's the way I teach. That's the way we got to push forward. We got to keep going because I don't want an 800-kilogram lump lying on you next week. Okay, and so we'll go through all these there, and other than that, it should be a pretty good week. Okay, and I hope you guys all have your coffees. And away we go. A&P, anatomy, physiology. The anatomy and physiology are basically two sides of the same coin. Anatomy is the branch of science that studies the structure of the body. Why are the hands? Why do the hands look like that? Okay, I have these 5 projections. Okay, that's very odd. And I got this little one here, but it seems to kind of oppose all these guys so that I can, look what I can, wow, I can grab things. Interesting. So that's my structure. And I just said there that I could grab things. Structure is tied to function. Okay? Organs, appendages, all things used in the body, and not just our bodies, lizards, fish, whales, giraffes, trees. All these things there, the anatomy is tied to its function. And so the shape and how something looks, the skin type, nails. What are these weird things doing on the end of my hand? These things that I have to keep cutting every month. They're hard. Okay, structure and function. They're two sides of the same coin. And that's one of the things there that I want you guys to maintain throughout today's class. And, well, not so much there today's class. I'm introducing the topic of anatomy physiology. But next week there, we'll whack it big time. And I want you guys to remember that structure and function are tied together. They have to be, right? Like if you look at the structure of a fish, it is designed to wiggle through the water, swim through the water, fast as lightning, right? These kinds of things. So this is one of the things I want you guys to, and what I'm going to say this 1,000 times anyway. So let's just move on, shall we? So anatomy, the branch of science that studies the structure of the body. Physiology comes from action, right? The branch of study that describes how the body functions. So function and structure are two sides of the same coin. Okay? Good. Like here you have a spider monkey. And actually we were just watching these there a couple days ago. Great show, BBC Planet Earth 1 and Planet Earth 2. I don't know if you guys have ever heard those. Best nature shows ever. And you'll see there that spider monkey actually basically has 5 appendages. Okay? 2 arms, 2 legs, and a tail. And it's just incredible. When you start getting into zoology, zoologists, though, tend to stay away from Australia because things start to break down in Australia because those animals are a little odd. But the body's level of organization, okay, and generally, it goes from simple to complex. And that's what we're looking at there. Okay. And I'm just going to make that a little smaller. Perfect. And you'll see here that we move from atoms. Okay. And atoms are the smallest. Well, they're not the smallest, but it's what we use there to identify one particular atom from another. And if you look at the periodic table of elements, okay, you've got hydrogen and helium and lithium and beryllium and carbon and nitrogen and oxygen and fluorine, all these different atoms, right? Oxygen and chlorine and plutonium, platinum, gold, silver. These are the smallest identifying feature between things. Like if I have a kilogram of gold and a kilogram of copper, okay, we can break it down and look at their individual atoms, and so that's what's going on there. And a gold atom is different from a copper atom. And atoms there, they have protons, neutrons, and they have electrons that go around them. And so when these atoms come together in particular fashions through chemical reactions, either done in a test tube or in our body, when we eat that banana, we mechanically break that down by chewing the banana. We chemically break it down in our stomach, okay? And then that banana is absorbed. The proteins, the sugars, the vitamins, all these kinds of things are absorbed there by the small intestine, okay? Goes up, and these things they're broken down. And that's the whole point of the stomach, right? Because a banana as itself is no good to me. I need to liquefy that banana and extract what I want to extract, right? And your body will extract what it needs from that banana in these little microparticles, molecules. And what these molecules are, the atoms, they come together in particular fashions, and they create these molecules, like vitamins and molecules. Okay, all these kinds of things, right? And we want, that's what we want as far as absorption goes, because your stomach has broken everything down. Now we take all those individual pieces there that your stomach broke down, and now we build them back up. 2 words there that you may hear, anabolism and catabolism. Breaking things down, building things back up again. Okay, and you'll see there that once we've eaten that banana and we've digested it, and now we're reabsorbing it, now we can start building things again there that we need. And you'll see there we have atoms, we have molecules, okay, that next level up is cells, like an individual blood cell or a bone cell or a muscle cell. These are cells. But really, cells are no good by themselves. Okay? So, like a muscle cell just sitting there in a petri dish, well, I ain't going to do anything, right? But if you have a whole whack load of the same muscle cells together, okay, now you have what's called a tissue sample. And now when these cells, these organized cells that are all the same, and they're all working together as a single unit, now you can get some stuff done, right? That's called tissue. And then the next level up, okay, here's your tissue here, is what we call an organ. All right? And an organ is just that. It's not an organ system like your liver is an organ. But there are other organs that function in this particular, let's say we're talking about the liver. The liver just doesn't stand by itself. There's the gallbladder, the small intestine, the pancreas is in there, all these kinds of things, right? And so then we're going to talk about organ systems. All right? Like the lungs, they just don't function by themselves. Okay? You have the pleural membranes there, like the whole, how your lungs, like you, one of the things there that we'll talk about there next week is when you take a breath, do you actually think that you're sucking that air in? No, you're not. I know it seems like I am. You hear that? It seems like I'm sucking it in, but I'm not. That air is moving in freely. And it's kind of the same thing as when you're having a Coca-Cola and you've got a straw, right? When you suck on one end of the straw, that Coca-Cola goes up, right? You actually think you're sucking that Coca-Cola up into your mouth? No, you're not. It's air pressure pushing down on the Coca-Cola in the glass and pushing it up because you've caused a negative pressure by sucking. But we'll get into all these things here. And hopefully there next week I can do anatomy, physiology, a little bit of justice, okay? And we can kind of hit all these organ systems, 10 minutes, 15 minutes a piece there, these kinds of things. And because the body's awesome. It really is. And so then not only are we talking about the organ, but then you're talking about the organ system. All these different bananas that are involved in facilitating digestion or respiration or nervous, excretion there, urinary, sexual reproduction, okay? Just the whole thing, all these. And so you're going from micro to macro, which is what I wanted this course to be about. Yes, this is a microbiology course. It's an infection control course. But, we've kind of covered, we've talked about the micro. Now I want to talk a little bit about the macro repercussions, okay, and repercussions there of what's going on. So, and then one step up from your organ systems there, if you collect all your organ systems there together, you get a body, whether it's a lizard body or a human mammalian body or whatever it is. All these different higher level animals, okay, birds, mammals, reptiles, they have organ systems that all work in congeniality with each other, okay? So that's the direction there that we're going, okay? And hopefully there we can cover that there today. There's lots of definitions in here that you will see next week. And again, so it's just more of an introduction, these kind of things. This word here is homeostasis. And the best way that I can show you guys this is it's kind of like a teeter-totter, a seesaw, the kids play there at the playground. And when you're playing volleyball or basketball or any of these sports, right? Your coach will tell you there that you never want to be flat foot when you're playing. Any type of sport where you're running, vaulting, jumping, all these kinds of things, right? How should you stand when you're playing a sport and you're ready to, go on offense or defense or whatever? Your feet, you want to be on the tops of your feet, and there is a point to what I'm saying here, so just give me a couple of minutes. You know, it's kind of difficult to do there in a VR class, but unless I'm going to be jumping around camera, but you want to be on the tops of your feet. You know, you don't want to be on the backs of your feet, because then you're not prepared to receive the basketball, or you're not prepared to return the volleyball. You need to be on the tops of your feet, ready to go, bouncing back and forth. You know what I mean? You're ready, you're ready, you're ready. Well, homeostasis is the body's way of being ready. Your body is never flatlining. And I don't mean that, I hope all, I don't mean that in a death sense. I mean it in a preparedness way. Your body is always looking for disease. And, when we were talking about there, your T cells, your white blood cells, right? Your sniffer dogs, right? They're always looking for, a pathogen in your blood supply. Okay. Your lymph is always doing the same thing, which we'll get into, all right, there next week. But your body is never resting when it comes to being prepared for a disease onset. And the reason is such is that I'm going to go for a walk there today with the kids. And you know what? And no joke, the odds of me contacting Ebola out in the woods there with a walk with my kids and my wife, no, the odds are pretty slim. But there are odds. I could contract Ebola, or the Black Plague, or what I mean. You could, and the body has to be prepared for these uncertainties every time you go to the store, you get into your car, all these things, because death lurks everywhere. And the body's purpose is to preserve your own life so that you can pass on your DNA to your children, and your lineage lives on, and your characteristics there that can be passed on, knowledge, all these things can be passed on, and in a sense it's self-preservation. Okay? And getting back into homeostasis, I've done all this 10-minute spiel, I haven't even told you what the heck it is. And basically it's the body's ability to maintain a stable internal environment in response to a changing environment. Now, the body does all these things here to prepare for defense against disease, injury, death, all these kinds of things, right? And how this works is, let's say your body temperature, 37.6, it's never 37.6. Your body temperature is always being monitored. Just like your oxygen, carbon dioxide, more so your carbon dioxide levels in your blood. Okay, you have chemoreceptors there in your aorta and all this that are monitoring the amount of carbon dioxide. You would think that the body is monitoring more closely the amount of oxygen in your blood, but it's not. It does. There are chemoreceptors there that do measure the amount of oxygen in there in your blood. But indirectly there, the body measures the amount of carbon dioxide more so. Okay, because CO2 poisoning, okay, is actually more severe than O2, not having enough O2, okay, in the short term. So this homeostasis mechanism, and this applies to body temperature, oxygen regulation, carbon dioxide regulation, all chemical balancing mechanisms are like this. And you'll see that your body temperature will go up, 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 and then there's a sensor there that senses that your body temperature is going up too high. So, okay, we're going to shut it down again. Okay, body temperature is getting too cold. Now, all right, no, we got to watch it. Okay, yeah. And you see how there are these sensors there that are always checking. So the body's always in flux. It's always in change. It's always aware. It's always looking. It's always monitoring. Okay? And You know what I mean? You're even talking about bone density there in the bones, right? Like, we grow up there as kids, and we're told there that calcium, you got to drink your milk there, you got to have your cheese there because your bones need milk, your bones need calcium. Well, it's not so much really your bones. Yes, your bones need calcium, minerals, phosphate, all these kinds of things there. We need a proper bone density. But really, your bones are just a library, a deposit, a reservoir for extra minerals that are floating around the blood that your body may use later. Like calcium. No joke, man. Your heart, no muscle would function without calcium. Nerves wouldn't function without calcium. So, yes, calcium is very important for your teeth and your bones. But it's also good for every single nerve and muscle in your entire body. Wouldn't function without it. So we don't just throw calcium out. Okay, we keep it. And phosphate and other ions like there that and anything there that there's too much of in the blood that we just can't throw out. Throw it on the bones. Throw it on the bones. The bones will take it. And so the bones, they get these metal ions and atoms and all these kinds of things there, and that's what your bones are made of. But then, you see, when there's too much phosphate and calcium in the blood, well, all right, now we got to drop it. No, let's send that calcium to the bones. So then the calcium drops. And the calcium drops too much. Oh no, now we don't have enough there for the muscles. All right, so now we're going to start pulling the calcium off the bones. And you'll see there that it's always like this. And it's not just one mechanism, it's all mechanisms. And that's how the body stays on the tops of its feet. It's always watching, right? Always watching. And because your body, our bodies are perfect. They're amazing. Amazing machinery. All right? But the one thing that is not perfect is you going out into the environment. The environment is unpredictable. Like as I said, I'm going to go for a walk there today, and I recommend that you do too. It's going to be a nice day today and tomorrow, okay? Because the snow is flying soon, and I think today is going to be 13, tomorrow's going to be 14, so make sure you get outside, get some vitamin D. But the one thing there that is uncertain is me walking out into the forest. You never know, okay? So that's the whole thing. We'll talk more about homeostasis. I just wanted to take a couple minutes and show you guys this. Basically, everything there that we're going to see there this week and next week apply to this homeostasis. The body is always in flux because if the body is asleep, that could mean certain death. If there's a bear over there or this and that. Okay, but we'll get more into this there. So that's homeostasis. You can tell that that's a pretty important one. You'll see it on the quiz and the test for sure. Homeostatic mechanisms there, they help to maintain homeostasis. Okay, and homeostatic imbalance. And you can see there, if your homeostasis isn't in a flux, if your homeostasis is like this, it's like you're going 190 kilometers an hour, and it's not, you could see how that can now cause damage to a system, an organ system, tissues, or cells. Okay, and when you look at it there, if a cell dies, apoptosis, okay, generally now you just might have tissue death. And if you have tissue death, now you have a collection of cells that, and if the tissue death is substantial, like in sometimes myocardial infarction there, okay, if you have a large amount of tissue that are dying, well, then now you're looking at organ death. And any type of organ death is body death. So that's where we're at. Sorry for taking so long on that, but that's like crazy important. And every single organ system, I'll try and hit on its homeostatic mechanism. Next week, it's going to be interesting. But every single organ system, I will try and hit on its homeostatic, or at least one of its homeostasis points. All right? Because it's important. The skeletal system here, and I'm not focusing on any type of anatomy there today. Okay, it's more about terms. And I just wanted to show you there that the body can be broken down into two different, areas here. Okay, we've got the axial skeleton, which covers the central, the axis, right? And you'll see there it covers the skull, the vertebral column, okay, the rib cage, all of the organs inside, okay. Does not cover the pelvis girdle, okay. When you start getting into different organ systems and that, they kind of separate things, okay. You have your what you're called your appendicular portion. And this is more for movement. You'll see here that if we just had a torso there, it wouldn't be moving. But because we have the appendicular portions there, now we've included movement, the arms and the legs, pelvis girdle. Okay. And what we're going to be talking about there today is I'm going to be kind of dancing around anatomy and physiology. Like we're going to talk about body cavities. We're talking more about spatial areas there today instead of specifics. Next week we'll get more into the specifics. Okay, when we get into the lungs and how they actually breathe in. Like you're probably angry at me because I introduced that you guys thought you guys were breathing in air, but the air is actually rushing in. I'll explain all that there stuff there next week. But we're going to talk about body cavities, okay? All these different cavities there. We're going to talk about membranes, areas. Like inside we have the heart is wrapped in basically a piece of plastic. The lungs are in their own little membrane. Everything has its own little packages. And that's one of the things that we're more into areas there today. And that's where we're at there, and hopefully it won't be turn out too bad at all. But you have a look here. Body cavities there's the axial portion. Okay, we've got the appendicular portion. Okay, this is more the head, neck, and trunk. The appendicular there has to deal with movement there of the arms and legs, pelvic girdle, these kinds of things. Parts of the axial portion there, we've got the cranial cavity, your brain. Yeah, your brain weighs a couple of pounds. And I don't know if you guys, you go to Zehrs or you go to the supermarket there and you'll see the person, they'll bring out a truck of apples, right? And the apples, they'll put the apples into the produce counter and then they'll wheel the empty cart back into the back, right? Well, you notice there all the apples are sitting on these little styrofoam containers or cardboard containers, right? Because you don't want all these 50 pounds of apples just thrown into a box. The bottom 10 apples that are kind of being squished between the box and 40 pounds of apples above, those apples are going to be dead, right? Because they're going to be squished. They're going to go bad on the bottom. Well, you look at your brain. Your brain's a couple pounds. Gravity works on it just like everything else. That's why we have what's called cerebrospinal fluid. Because a great way for an athlete who's been injured, or somebody who is obese and has difficulty performing physical activity, what do? You throw them in the swimming pool. And you don't throw them. You allow them to get in. You know what I mean, though. But somebody who is, obese, or somebody who has an injury, they're able to do exercise in the pool because of buoyancy, right? The water's holding you up. Well, that's what's going on there in your brain. There's a little bit of fluid there that your brain is sitting on, which then allows a bit of buoyant force there, which takes a bit of stress off the bottom of the brain. We'll get there. There's lots that we could talk about, and I'll do my best. Vertebral canal, okay, that's for your spine, your vertebral column, okay. Your thoracic cavity, this is your chest, thorax. You'll see anyone there into entomology, bugs, the middle section there of an insect is the thorax, okay. The abdominal pelvic cavity, okay. The abdominal cavity, viscera, the digestion, and the spleen. The pelvic cavity, now you're down into the intestines, the bladder, and the reproductive organs. Okay. Kind of separating those is the diaphragm. Okay. That's your muscle there. It's actually a bell-shaped muscle. Okay. When you breathe in, breathe out. And that's, we'll get more into that there when we do our 15 minutes of respiration there next week. Major body cavities here. And again, you just have a look here. There's your thoracic cavity. Okay, separated there by your diaphragm. This is your abdominal pelvic that they call. Okay, pelvic cavity is down here. Houses there your intestines. And your abdominal cavity is everything in there that should be in there. Okay, and just to recap right here, everything there that relates to the cartoon that you just saw it all right here. Okay. Cranial cavity, and there's your vertebral canal. Just like these little packages in there that house your spinal column. Okay. Let's have a look at this one here. And this is just a frontal view. Okay. And sorry, this one here I need to send to the back. There we go. Good. So just going down from top to bottom in no particular order. Okay, there's your cranial cavity that we just saw, your vertebral canal. Okay. Your thoracic cavity. Now, have a look here. You've got what we call pleural membranes. And these pleural membranes, I'm going to do a little bit of anatomy here, a little bit of physiology here, okay? The whole idea there that your lungs open and close. And I'm not going to go into the specifics. We'll do that there next week there, but it has to do with your diaphragm. And just the very fact that if you take, I don't know, what's the, I want to say plastic wrap. You know, cellophane there that you wrap your sandwiches up there. You know, you pull it off and you rip it off and stretch it. You can stretch it around plates there to keep your dinner fresh there till tomorrow. So if you take one piece of plastic wrap, saran wrap, and flatten it out onto a table. So it's perfectly flat onto a table. You take a little bit of water, not a lot, a couple of drips of water here and there. And that's all you need. And then you put another piece of saran wrap on top of that one. And you flatten it all out so that basically it looks like one piece of saran wrap. Really, it's two, right? And they're stuck, right? Good luck trying to ever take these two off. There's such a huge suction on there because of the couple drops of water that are in there, okay, that basically if I pull on one side of the saran wrap, the other side is coming too. And this is how your lungs work. And we'll get more into the detail there, but there are these pleural membranes, okay, that surround your lungs. And this is called the left pleural cavity. You have the right pleural cavity. And it's basically, it's a piece of cellophane, plastic wrap, with a chemical in the middle called surfactant, which we'll get into. And there's another piece of cellophane, and they're stuck together. So when you breathe in, this side here gets sucked out and carries this side, and therefore now we have lung expansion. And then when I breathe out, this side here gets pulled in and it carries this one in too. So this is how the lungs open and close. I'm doing a really short job of it. I'll do more of an explanation there next week. Oh, and next week I have about, I think, 30 videos. Okay, so as much as I try and do justice on here, nothing takes the place of a movie. So that's where we'll have lots of videos there for next week. I don't know how I'm going to post 3 gigs of videos on there, but we'll see how it all goes. Let me deal with that. So you have your left pleural cavity, your mediastinum, medial. We'll get there. You have your right pleural cavity right here, your left pleural cavity here. Pericardial cavity, cardio, heart. Okay. Your abdominal pelvic cavity, we've seen that there, your abdominal cavity and your pelvic cavity here, all separated there by your diaphragm. Okay, nothing too crazy there. I think a lot of the words there should be okay. Some of them will be new, and that's okay. There's no testing there this week. We'll clean everything up there next week. So here are just some shots of the cranial cavity. And there's your vertebral canal. Houses your spinal column. And the reason why there are these cavities is because they don't want your brain rattling around. They don't want your vertebral column moving around. Everything is secure, contained, and protected. Just like the whole idea, I'm sure that you guys have heard of the there is no blood in the brain. There's actually what we call a blood-brain barrier. Because as much as our blood, I love my blood, I love it. It brings me oxygen. It takes away my carbon dioxide. It takes my, the blood transports the urine there to the kidneys. It does everything there you need. But it is also a vector for disease, right? If a bug gets into the blood, now it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Movable, motile. Yeah, it can move. Yeah, all right. Sorry, I'll take a 5-second break and have a coffee. And blood, the brain needs oxygen, but there's a barrier. No blood gets anywhere near, or gets close, but doesn't get to the brain, because there has to be a level of separation to protect the brain from any type of bugs that might be in there. We'll get into all these kinds of things here, all right? But there are reasons for this. Here, every time you look at the body, you're looking at billions of years of evolution, and creatures have been born with different strategies. Maybe they didn't make it, but this human form has made it this far, so this has to be the most successful human form. Just the anatomy and physiology, that's what we're talking about here, right? So if there's any type of cavities, any type of protection there, billions of years of evolution. So we've got the thoracic cavity, okay? There's your diaphragm, it's in the middle. Abdominal pelvic cavity, your mediastinum. We'll get into all these here. Wait until you see the definitions. Okay, there's your mediastinum there, abdominal cavity, and your pelvic. Nothing too crazy there. Here we've got the head, and this is pretty. I just wanted to show you guys there, that there are cavities within the head itself. And you have to think there that our head, if it was just a solid piece of meat, probably weigh about 20 pounds. It's a lot, maybe more. And that would be too difficult for our cervical spine. Okay, you have there's two there called your atlas and your axis, and which I'll show you guys there next week. They're responsible there for your yes motion and your no motion. Ow, why did that hurt? Yeah, getting old, I guess. But the whole point there is your head. There are hollow points all in it. And you see, the hollow points there, they allow the head to be lighter, okay? Which allows for more movement, more flexibility, strength, all these kinds of things, okay? You have the oral cavity. Mouth area contains the tongue and the teeth. Nasal cavity, okay? Inside the nose, they divide it into the left and right portions by the septum. I'll show all you guys there this week. The orbital cavities, orbital. I'm more concerned about terminology. Orbital means eyes, okay? Your eyes just sit right in here, all right? There's a cavity right in there, okay? Just cavity just means hole. And you also have your middle ears, okay? And just the whole idea that we can hum, and you feel that vibration in your teeth, you feel it in the ears. your ears and your mouth are actually connected there. That's why if you plug your nose and don't do this, it's really not good for you. But if you sneeze and then plug your nose, you ever have it toot come out your ears? It happened to me in grade 3. Grade 3 wasn't a good year for me. All right. So I'm more concerned about vocab there this week. That's what this is all about. It's more about terminology. Next week I'll hit you guys with, more. Okay. This just talks about there the thoracic and abdominal pelvic double layer membrane. And there's your pleural membranes, which I have some pictures here, which I'll show you. There, they line the lungs, okay, the thoracic cavity. There are a couple of them there. There's your parietal pleura, lines the inner wall, okay. The visceral pleura covers the lungs. And there's a thin layer of serous fluid there that separates the two layers. So it's just like what I was saying there. You have one membrane, you have another membrane, and you have some fluid in between. So therefore now you can't pull them apart. So wherever this one goes, this one comes. Okay, that's how the lungs go in. I have some shots here I'll show you. You have the pericardial membrane. Okay, surrounds the heart. Okay, it makes up the parietal pericardial membrane makes up the outer layer. The visceral covers the heart itself. Okay, kind of the same idea as what's going on here. Serous fluid separates the two layers. The potential space between layers is called your pericardial cavity. Okay. Peritoneal membranes, they line the abdominal pelvic cavity. Parietal or parietal. Okay, peritoneum lines the walls while the visceral peritoneum covers the organs. Okay, potential space is called your peritoneal cavity. And you'll see here we have some shots. Okay, these are your pleural membranes, and I have better shots here. There's your visceral pleura. Okay, and then you'll see here you have your parietal pleura. And you'll see here that the cavity, you'll see here that, this one's smaller, this one's bigger. What's going on here? It's because the lungs expand. They need room to expand, right? We'll get more into that kind of stuff there next week. What do we got here? That's what I'm looking at right here. The pericardial membrane, it's the same idea. You've got an inner and outer, okay? And you got your visceral pericardium, and you have your parietal pericardium. And together there they make the pericardial cavity. There's more pictures here that I'll show you guys here. Your peritoneum. Here we've got, look at this. This is there for the digestive tract, the lower tracts here. And you'll see that the peritoneum, you have your visceral peritoneum, your parietal peritoneum, and together there, it's the same thing. If you look at the above there for the lungs and the heart, your visceral and parietal, they cover the same areas as far as being away from the organ and closer to the organ. Okay, great word here. There's the lesser and greater omentum. This is kind of like a fat blanket. And fat has a bad name, you know what I mean? We want to try and avoid foods that are high in fat and all these kinds of things. We've got trans fat and all this kind of stuff. Well, to some degree we need fat. Your organs are kind of oddly shaped, and they're oddly shaped because that's the best way that they function. But in between the stomach and the liver, what's holding everything into place? Are all these organs just kind of sitting there at the bottom of your your abdomen there? No, they're all sitting in place, and you'll see that they're all kind of in place, and they all have their place and are being held in place by the greater and lesser omentum. It's these fat pads there, these fat blankets that just get kind of thrown on everything, and you're holding, and it holds everything in place. Okay. Just some other shots here. We're going to talk about sectioning. and anatomical position. And this is what we call a transverse section through the thorax. Now, you know what I mean, wherever you guys are going to be, whatever your jobs are going to, you know what I mean, this is always good to know. You know, if you're, like what we were talking about there, being an MDR, medical device reprocessing, you remember there last week's there's a lot to do. The surgeon fills out their preference card, and they need all these things there for Tuesday, November the 17th at 2 o'clock in room R2330. All of these sterile pieces of equipment need to be organized and ready to go for the surgeon there at that specific time. Well, you may be required to get all this stuff into the OR before. Generally, that's how it works. You may be required to remove all these things after, which generally is required because they need to be reprocessed. There might be an issue going on during a medical procedure. And for whatever reason, you might need some medical terminology. And this is what we call a transverse section here. And you'll see there the plane of section. Right across there. Catches the bottom of the heart and lungs. Okay. And you'll see here. See if we can go around and have a look. Now, before we begin, I want you to look at this. And, you know, maybe your knowledge of anatomy physiology is limited to some extent, which will change there this week and next week, I promise. Okay? But whenever you're looking at a cartoon or a schematic or anything like this, okay, I want you guys to figure out where you guys are. Now, you're looking at this and you're going, what the heck is going on here? Start looking at what you can recognize. Well, here I've got a spinal column. All right, so the spinal column, where does that hang out in the body? This must be the back, what we call the posterior. Okay, I've got, you'll get all these, don't worry, you don't have to write them down yet. This is called your posterior, means back. This is your anterior. This is your front. Okay, now, have a look around. Make this make sense. Okay, it's actually a word in education. It's called meaning making. I want you guys to do this. So you have a look here. So this is the back. This is the front. So use yourself as a guide. You can, because you got a heart, you got a spine, you got lungs. All right. So you're looking at this going, okay, so this is the front here. Okay, so I can see the ribs. Yeah. I can see the ribs. There's the spinal column. You can see how the ribs are attaching to the spinal column. You'll see that. You'll see what else is going on here. You've got the lungs here. Now, this lung here, it's on the right-hand side of the page, but it ain't the right lung. Look at it. This is on the right-hand side of the page, but remember, we're looking at this human being, you know, looking at us. This is their left lung. Okay? This is your right lung. Okay, you'll see there that one is bigger than the other. Crazy. We'll get there. There's your heart. Okay, we'll get there. We'll get into a little bit of the heart there next week. Okay, you've got your esophagus, which actually kind of looks like a breakfast sausage. It really does. When I would give my students there, we'd do a heart dissection. Okay. And we get these hearts there from the abattoir from, we used porcine hearts. Sometimes the heart would still have an attachment of trachea and esophagus on it. So I go, yay, you guys are so lucky. You guys get to see the esophagus and the trachea too. And very interesting. It looks like just a little breakfast sausage. The trachea, which doesn't seem to be listed. All right. Well, you'll see there it has these cartilaginous rings on it, but we'll get there next week there when we do the lungs in 20 minutes. Okay, there's your aorta. This is the main artery coming off the heart, about this big, massive amounts of pressure, but we'll get there, okay? So just the whole thing is have a look at what's going on in your diagram. Know exactly your orientation. Know where you are. Know what's happening, okay? Anterior is the front. Posterior is the back. And this is what we call a transverse section. Transverse. All right, so getting into this here. Sorry, I'm just going to try to... So there's your spinal cord. There's one particular vertebra. Okay, there's your aorta, your esophagus. Okay, this is your right lung. And you'll see here, you see the space in between the lungs here. And I'll zoom in a little bit more. And you'll see there that... Just going to try and zoom this over. It's what we call your visceral pleura. This one here is actually touching the organ. Okay? And it's generally the case there for most of the organ systems. All right? And then you have what's called your pleural. There's a space in between. Can I zoom down? And then, so your visceral pleura, this membrane, is touching the organ. And then you have your parietal pleura, which is not. It's kind of on the outside of the cavity. And you'll see here that there's a space. And that is very, very, very important. It's like I told you guys there that when one side gets pulled, because of this suction, the other side gets pulled, and that's how we breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Okay? What else we got here? Yeah, everything there seems pretty... yeah, you even have a look at your heart. This is what I want to look at right here. There's your visceral pericardium. You see how it's touching the heart? Okay? And then you have your parietal pericardium, which is not touching the heart. Okay? And there's that space that's called your parietal cavity. So all of these guys that have these double membrane, okay, they'll have a visceral and parietal membrane. Visceral is touching the organ. Parietal is not. And in between this space, there's this cavity. Okay, very important. And this cavity, especially around the heart, can actually be a problem because you can get some bacterial infection there, even in the brain. Okay, get meningitis, all these kinds of things. And yeah, we'll talk more about those there next week when we get into the heart a little bit more. Here we have another transverse section, and this time it's a little lower now. You'll remember there that this one was a little higher. Okay, so now we have another transverse section. Okay, and let's just have a look at what we have. No, oh come on. Okay, there we go. Good enough. So, where are we? Where's the front? Where's the back? Where's the left side? Where's the right side? Well, right there. There's the spinal column. So this is my posterior. This is my back. This is my anterior. This is my front. This is my left side. And this is my right side. It will be confusing because when you get into something called anatomical position, okay, it's where I'll show you guys there. Everything is opposite, but that's part of medicine. Is you have to be able to recognize that. Okay, this is the left side of the body. This is the right side of the body. This is the back, and this is the front. Okay, lateral. We're getting there. Posterior, anterior. Oh yeah. So there's your vertebra. Here's your right kidney. Here's your left kidney. And you're thinking, you're taking a slice right out of here, and you'll see your kidneys, they don't sit at the same spot. We'll get there. And you'll see here that, what else? Let's just go around. There is your pancreas. Okay. Your large intestine. Am I going to ask you guys to remember these on there? No. But you may have to, maybe I could give you something like this, and I could delete all these, and I could point to one and say, tell me what that is. And all you'd have to do is go back to the PowerPoint then in which we found it and find it. Yeah, I could. Yeah, this is all good stuff. I like it. But I haven't taught you what a gallbladder is. I haven't taught you what the small intestine is. I haven't even taught you what the stomach does. But we will get there next week. I'm not quite sure how, but we'll get there. Okay. Very good stuff here. Anatomical relative position terminology. Maybe I should have thrown this slide there earlier. The body is erect, so facing forward, upper limbs at the side with palms forward. And I want to see, do I have? Yes. This right here is what we call anatomical position. Okay? And when we're talking about anatomical position, this is the only thing we're doing. Now, you see, the anterior, the front, you'll see there that the palms of the hand are considered front. The backs of the hand are considered the back. So whenever we talk about anatomical position, the anterior, the front, is anything there that you see here. How is there a mosquito in my house? Crazy. It's November. Incredible. All right. So, and when we're talking about the anterior, the back part, it's everything that would be I have everything in the back. I don't have it. I have it down later, okay? So, I just wanted to show you that when we're talking about anatomical position, this is the position we're talking about. Whatever's in the front or whatever's in the back. That's what it means. Hands forward at the sides. That's what anatomical position means. So the terms there that describe the location of one body part with respect to another. That's what's most important. That's how medical practitioners translate the heart or differentiate the heart from the knee. Where is the heart from the knee, or where is the knee from the heart? What's going on? Welcome to it. Superior means above. Inferior means below. So an example, the heart is superior to the knee. The knee is inferior to the heart. C'est bon? Is good? Good. Anterior is the front, also known as ventral. Posterior, towards the back, also means dorsal. Like you guys will know there, fish, dolphins, they have a dorsal fin. It's on the back. Dorsal means back. So ventral means anterior, means front. Dorsal, posterior, back. Median, kind of closer to the midline. Medial. And then we have lateral, which means towards the side, away from the midline. I'll give you guys examples of this there. Bilateral, paired structure with one on each side. So my arms are bilateral. Like it? Make it make sense. My arms are bilateral. My eyes are bilateral. Ears. Okay. Lateral. My fingers are lateral to my heart. It's weird, you know what I mean? But that's how it goes. That's how we say it. Okay? My shoulder is lateral to my heart, to the side. My heart is medial to my shoulder. That's all it is. You know what I mean? You're looking at one coin. You're just two sides of the same coin. Yeah. My nose is anterior. Okay. My occipital protuberance you'll notice there, take your fingers and go to the back of your skull, the base of your skull there, and you'll feel a bony little protrusion. Okay? And, you know, I encourage you guys, if you guys haven't taken anatomy physiology, go on and do a PhD in it. It's so much fun. But you'll just see there that the bones there, they have there's these protuberances, these kind of, how do you, like if you I don't know, you try and stick something to a clear surface. It doesn't really stick too well, right? Because it's a clear surface, it's smooth. You need something sticky to attach to something rough, right? Well, now if you take that smooth surface and take some sandpaper to it, and you're scratching it, and you scratch it, and you're making the surface so uneven, clean it all off again. Now stick that, whatever it was you want, and it'll stick till the cows come home. It's because muscle attachments, ligament attachments, all these kinds of tendon attachments, all these kinds of things. Sorry, not they have these, what they call these protuberances, and they'll just places there where you can attach things to. All right. Here's some more words, and they're some of them are good. Ipsilateral, structures on the same side of the body. My right ear and my right eye are ipsilateral. How's that one? Like that one? Yeah, it's yeah. Contralateral, structures on the opposite side of the body. My left ear and my right eye are contralateral to each other. Ugh, horrible stuff, eh? I get it. Proximal, closer to the point of attachment to trunk or another reference point of body. Now, before I explain that, I'm going to go to distal, okay? Because you'll see that all of these, most of these terms, they work in tandem. There's two: superior, inferior. So if you're going to know one, you better know the other, because they're opposites, right? Superior, inferior. Anterior, posterior. Medial, lateral. Okay? Yeah, ipsilateral, contralateral, I think you're on your own. Okay. Proximal is closer to the point of attachment. Distal is further away. So what does that mean? My hand is distal to my elbow. My hand is distal to my elbow, means it's farther away. My elbow is proximal to my hand. Try these out. We'll check the slides out there later. Superficial or peripheral means near the surface. So if it's a superficial cut, it's all right. Just got the epidermis, not too bad. If it's a deep cut, okay, then it's deep, more internal. So have a look here. Here we've got superior. Here we have inferior. Okay, so my head is superior to my knee. My toe is inferior to my knee. Good. Anterior is your front. Okay, also called ventral. My posterior is my back, also called dorsal. The medial line, so it's talking about towards the middle. Okay, so my heart is medial to my shoulder, more towards the midline. My shoulder is lateral to my heart. Okay, opposites, not too bad. It's not like you have to memorize them anyway. Proximal means closer to. Distal means away from. So, like, just taking the same silly examples here. My knees are proximal to my toes, closer to the center. my toes are distal to my knee. That kind of a thing. Sorry for the silly analogies, but that's how it goes. Now, what do we got here? You'll see that deep is deep. Superficial isn't really superficial. Okay? And superficial just means it's not deep. Okay? Not deep at all. The more terms of relative position here. Okay? We've got the anterior, posterior. It's all here. Proximal, distal. Okay? Have a look at these. Make them make sense. All right? I don't think it's too bad. Just once you get it, it's not bad at all. Okay? Sorry. Here we're going to deal with some sections. We've already seen the transverse. Okay, that was the horizontal section there right through the body. If any of you ever, good money being x-ray technician or a CT scan technician, all these CAT scans there. We use x-rays there for hard tissue, bones, cancer in the lungs, tuberculosis in the lungs, because TB causes these hard nodules that actually, they harden up so much they actually show up on an x-ray. But you get into a CAT scan there. A CAT scan is more for soft tissue. You know what I mean? Looking at organs and all these kinds of things. And it's really cool because you can peel off. It's crazy. You can peel off layers of a CAT scan of your body you can start peeling off layers to actually see what the issue is there in the body. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's really good. We have the sagittal section, divides the body into right and left. Okay, if it passes along the midline and divides the body into equal parts, it's a medial or mid-sagittal section. Okay, a section lateral to the midline is parasagittal. I'll show you these right here. So a section lateral, you have a sagittal section divides the body into a right and left. Now it doesn't have to be 50-50. If it's 50-50 right down the middle, we call it a midline. Okay? Or a mid-sagittal section. But you can have a sagittal section going right down through the shoulder. That's not 50-50, but it'll go all the way down and you can have a look. Okay? And we call that a parasagittal. If it's not midline and it's over here, a section lateral to the midline is what we call a parasagittal. I'll show you guys there in a second. The transverse section we've already seen there when we were looking at the membranes there of the thorax. Frontal section, also known as a coronal section, divides the body into anterior and posterior. So, you're like this. This is the slice. Okay? I don't know, wasn't looking at the camera. Is that what it is? Yeah, so your slice is going down here. We'll show you these right here. See if I can zoom in. So, the one we saw there earlier, I don't know, 10 slides ago there, we've got the transverse horizontal plane right through and it could be up higher, it could be lower, it could be through the knees. You know, maybe you want to do a cross section of both knees. See what's going on there, seeing if there's any arthritis or anything like that, right? Okay, so there's your transverse horizontal plane. Now you have your, what do we have here? Your mid-sagittal. I want to take these, just the one we were talking about right here. And that is, where did that go? Right here. The sagittal section. Let's look at the sagittal section first. The sagittal section, just to make sure, okay, divides the body into right and left. Okay, so you have a right and left. Now, you'll see here that if you do it right down the 50-50, okay, that's called a mid-sagittal. All right, but you can also have a parasagittal. And remember I was talking about we could have a section there just looking at the shoulder on down. So if it's lateral to the midline, it's what we call a parasagittal plane. And you'll see here that they actually have one. Here is your mid-sagittal going right down the nose, right down the center of the body. But then over to the right here, they actually have another. It's parallel to this one right here. It's what we call a parasagittal plane. So you can take planes anywhere of the body. And that's what they do in a CAT scan to try and find out what's going on. Okay. What do we have here? Here is your frontal, also known as your coronal plane. So your frontal plane there divides the body into anterior and posterior, front and back. And you'll see there that that's what this one's doing right here. Okay, divides it into front and back. I think that that's pretty much everything there. Good. Any questions on that? I hope you guys are doing well. The body sections. Yeah. Oh, hi, Ann. Do you have a question?
Hi, Ian.
Hey, what's going on? Talk to me.
Sorry for interrupting. I was just wondering because I think we jumped into anatomy and physiology, right?
Sorry?
We jumped into anatomy and physiology.
Not yet. We are going over the medical terminology. This is transverse, sagittal, frontal. This is medical terminology. That's
Okay.
We're not doing. I can't do this without doing some type of anatomy physiology. It's more medical terminology, but I have to put some anatomy physiology in this to kind of make it make sense.
Okay. Because the thing is, are we going to deal with like suffixes and prefixes next time?
Sorry?
So let me just take a. Hello.
Hi.
Okay, I took out my headset. Okay, so are we going to deal with suffixes and prefixes next time? Like suffix and prefix, like the basic terminology?
Yeah. The we're not done yet. We still have a whole nother PowerPoint to go.
Okay, no, because what I thought was I'm just speaking for myself. Like, for example, we're talking about pericardium, like the prefix, right? Like, if we know the meaning of that, we could like maybe understand the whole word. Like pericardium for like around, peri means around, right? So
Yeah.
what I thought was maybe like if we could deal with the suffix and prefix. I don't know. I'm just thinking for myself that maybe I would understand the word better, right? Because we're just dealing with this now. So I felt for myself like, yeah. So
That's all right. The cardium, cardia, is heart, and like the going into the history of every medical word, I can't do that. But honestly, I wish that I had Google and YouTube when I was a kid. Those are the two best inventions of this generation, where everything in human history can be recorded, which is the first time in human history. Like, I don't know what I looked like when I was a baby, but my children do, and they will always know. And the Google is the be careful because Google can Google is a business. They're not really. Oh, and my Google just turned on. Hey Google. Yeah, but as far as every word goes, if you
I don't understand.
oh Google, I was joking. As far as the history of all these kinds of things go, we're gonna hit on the main ones. But the history of a word, you guys can Google that on your own. These kinds of things here, the words are all here. And shoot me an email. We can go into further study. But as far as time goes, I'm doing the medical terminology there next week for the sole purpose of somehow going to be doing anatomy and physiology with you in 1 week. So that's my goal. Anna, I don't know. Tell me what you think, and yeah.
No. Everything's fine. It's just that I thought we jumped, and I thought we could focus on prefix and suffix before like dealing with like the big words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything's okay. Yeah. So
the PowerPoint there that we have after this one, that one there, I'm gonna go over a little bit, but I'm gonna let you guys kind of freewheel it, and but you guys will see what I'm doing there for that one there. But thanks, Anna. If that's good, we'll continue on. Thank you. What do we got here? More definitions here. Here, when we're talking about body sections, they're in cylindrical organs. Okay, cross section. Okay, there's oblique, and longitudinal. Okay? And that's just, and again, it's all words. That's all this is. I think we're probably up to about 30 definitions already, and we're only on PowerPoint 27. Okay, so, but more about body sections there. We're actually almost done on this part here. There's your sagittal plane. Okay, you can have parasagittal, your mid-sagittal. Okay. There's your mid-sagittal right down the center. Okay, parasagittal is just a little parallel off to the side. There's your transverse. Okay. Coronal or frontal divides the front into the back. Oblique. This one here, you'll see there that it was like this. Okay. There's your oblique section. All right. Follows the same pattern. It's on an angle. For whatever reason there, maybe you want to see maybe the kidneys. Because the kidneys there, they're not on the same level. We'll show you there next week. Oh, if you thought that was the end of the vocab. Body regions of the abdominal area. And you'll see here, I'll try and get into there. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Okay, we'll do that there next week. But we're dealing with regions. Okay, and there are 9 regions here when we're talking about. Okay, there's your, I'll start in this corner for no particular reason. There's your right hypochondriac, your epigastric, your left hypochondriac, your left lateral, umbilical, and you can see where that one comes from. Your umbilical cord, belly button. This is your right lateral. Okay, and then we have down here your inguinal section. Okay, this is your right and left inguinal. Inguinal means pelvis. Okay, and this is your pubic region here. Okay, and you can see here I'm not referencing anything to do with anatomy and physiology. I'm not dealing with any type of structure. I'm not dealing with any type of function. Okay, we're just dealing with areas. And you'll see there that I am introducing some medical terms here. Okay, so good. What else we got? This is just another shot of the 9 abdominal areas there. Okay, here's your right hypochondriac, your epigastric, your left hypochondriac. There's your umbilical. You guys can have a look at these right there. Not too bad. And quadrants of the abdominal. And you can also have quadrants. So you have this one right here. But you can also break this up into quadrants. There you have your right, your left lower, and your right lower. Right upper, these kinds of things. And these are important because they'll come into effect there next week. Now, again, I'm not going to, and please don't be afraid of next week. I'm not going to give you an entire university level anatomy physiology course in a 2-hour lecture. Ain't gonna happen. Okay, so that's where we're at. Yes, Anna, what can I do for you? You have a question? Or do you? No, maybe that's your hand is still up from last time. That's an interesting feature. I never knew that you could raise it.
Sorry, let me take it.
That's okay. I didn't know you could raise your hand in this. Thank you, Anna. That's great. I'm going to ask people to do that. Yeah. What do we got here? There's your abdominal quadrants right there. More about regional terms here. All of these words mean something. And you'll see here that there's the inguinal word again. Okay, here we're talking about the pelvis region. And this is what I'm more interested in is, are you able to decipher what region this is? There's your occipital protuberance right there. Okay, occipital means the back of the head. Some of these words I'm not going to be interested in. All right. Cephalic, buccal means cheek. I'm not too really worried. Orbital, oral. That's a good one. Cervical, when we get into spine there next week. Okay. Abdominal, we've seen. Sternal. Okay. We've got patellar. There are certain words that mean regions. Popliteal means knee. Strange one. Okay? Your patella is your kneecap. Okay? Here's your popliteal. That's the back of the knee. Your femur, which is the longest bone there in the body there. Okay? It's your thigh bone. This is called your femoral region. Your fingers are digits. Okay? That we actually call phalanges. We'll get there. Okay? Your lower back is your lumbar. Everyone should know that one. Okay? Some of these there we use in daily practice. Some of them we do not. Scapular. That comes from your scapula. This triangle bone here in the back of your body there that connects your shoulder muscle, puts it all together there. All right? There's all these different things. So I want you guys there to have a look at those. I'm not going to go crazy on these. It'll all make more sense there next week when we actually do the anatomy physiology. Today I'm just trying to get you guys organized. It's more of a preparation for next week. Okay. What do we got here? Oh yeah, this one here. Don't scream. I just put this in here to tell you that there's lots more on the table. Are we going to cover that? No. Okay. Like brachial. And there are some good words in here. And, cephalic, head, frontal, forehead, buccal, cheek. Brachial. I don't know if you guys have heard of your brachial artery. Brachial, okay, means arm. Okay. Pectoral means chest. Okay. Palmar, palm. Carpal. When we get into bones there next week. Okay, they're the bones of the wrist. There's lots here. And just have a look at it all. Inguinal means groin. Umbilical. Okay, that's your navel. That's your belly button. Have a look at all these. There's dorsal, back. Okay, and it's just a matter of becoming familiar with these. I have pain in my lumbar, my lower lumbar of my back. Well, that should make perfect sense to you after finishing this course, because if you have pain in your lower lumbar, where your lower lumbar is right in here. Okay? That's what we're looking for there. And that's the end of this course, or that's the end of this course here. That's the end of that PowerPoint there. I can't see how much time. Oh my gosh, is it already 10:30? Where did the time go? Let's have a look here. This PowerPoint, I'm going to let you guys go through it. Okay? And we'll go through it here. A lot of these there you will have seen before. And what I want you guys to do is, we'll go through these right now. I'm not really going to go into any detail. I want you guys to, if there's any issues with these, I haven't given you guys any assignment. I haven't given you guys anything to do other than, just study for the quiz 1 and quiz 2. And I want to try and get you guys to be a little bit more proactive. And that's just one of the problems with these VR courses. We kind of get into a lull where things, get comfortable. And I want you guys to I want you guys to look at these definitions and see if you guys can figure some of them out and see how. But when you guys are looking at these definitions there this week, you're Googling them. I want you to Google them, but I want you to have a focus on that these definitions, they should have a medical taste to them. Okay, a medical flavor to them. It's all about health sciences. Okay, so you look at IFU, okay, instructions for use. These are words, these are acronyms there that you're going to see in a hospital setting, because it's time that's important in a hospital setting. A minute can save 2 people's lives. All right, so instead of writing instructions for use, you're just going to see IFU. But every hospital is going to be different, okay? Case cart system. We've talked about this there last week, and the potential for hazardous trouble. Mixing up carts. Could you imagine if you put, the wrong medication on one cart and oh my gosh, don't even talk to me about it. Gives me the heebie-jeebies. Mixing up carts. Ooh. All right. There's case cart. We talked about this, the doctors, their preference cards, case card pull sheet. Okay. Now, instead of, I was thinking there, should I show you guys a picture of a case card pull sheet? Well, no. You guys can go and Google one. And what I will do is next week there, you guys will come back and say, hey, Ian, this one here I didn't get, this one here I didn't get, and this one here I didn't make any sense. Can you explain that? And I will do that there next week. Okay. Material managed department there, the healthcare department responsible for research, ordering, receiving, and managing inventory. Okay, interesting. You guys have seen this there before. HAI, okay, healthcare acquired infections, very important. STAT, abbreviation there for Latin statum, meaning immediate or at once. You wouldn't think that, right? Stat, what are you talking about? Mathematics, statistics? No, it's an emergency. Turnover, turnaround, term used to describe instruments or equipment that must receive priority processing in order to be made available for another procedure. Okay. Word elements, parts of a word there. You have the root word element there. It tells the primary meaning of a word, also called base word or an element. Okay. The prefix, the word element that comes before the root word. Okay. So pericardium. The root word is cardium, means heart. Pericardium. Okay, you can have a prefix, which is at the start, a suffix at the end. I'm not too, I'm not gonna fry you guys on this. Okay, to be quite frankly truthful, we're kind of going in anatomy and physiology direction, but as far as this isn't going to be a grammar test. You know what I mean? I'm not interested. I taught ESL for 15 years overseas in Bahrain and Saudi and Thailand and all this kind of stuff, and I'm not interested in that. I don't want anyone's level of English to be an issue, so do not worry. Okay. A suffix there is a word that comes at the end. Okay, and what we're talking about here is like tall, taller, The ER is a suffix. Okay. Safe, unsafe. Un is what we call a prefix, right? It changes the meaning of the word, but the root word is still there. And combining a vowel there, a letter, usually an O, that's sometimes used to ease the pronunciation of a medical word. And, it just to kind of make the word flow. And when you guys are doing these there during the week, you guys will encounter some of these. So just be on the safe side. And if you guys, now with this information, you guys can actually go through the PowerPoint there on anatomical terminology and medical terminology, and you guys can actually find words that have a root word with a suffix, root word with a prefix. Have some fun with it. Relative humidity, amount of water vapor in the air. Biohazard waste containing infectious agents. They'll have that infectious agent symbol that we've seen throughout the course. Okay. All right. Deionized water that has all of its minerals removed. Okay. Distilled water that's heated to steam, then allowed to cool and condense. These kinds of things. RO water. Okay. And that's how they will do it. That's how they'll write it. And you, being a medical practitioner in whatever field there that you're going to be doing, that's what you will have to understand. Cavitation. Interesting. Dealt with it there last week. Process used by an ultrasonic cleaner in which low pressure bubbles in a cleaning solution burst inward. Okay? When you're talking about an ultrasonic cleaner. Interesting. You just might see the word. Okay? Impingement. The spray force action of pressurized water against instruments being processed to physically remove dirt. Okay. Surfactant. This one here, you will see in between the membranes of the lung. Okay. And it's what causes those two membranes there to kind of stick. All right? We'll get more into that there next week. Chelating agents. You guys can have a look at all these. I want you guys to go through these and make sense of them yourself. Okay? And there's a whole bunch of them there. Okay? Look, we're still going down. There's all these ones here. I'm going to leave that one there with you. And if there's any issues on 1 or 5 of them, shoot me an email and we'll have a talk. How are we doing? That's what's going on there for that PowerPoint there. And now I just have some questions. And we could do all these there, and you guys can do them. But yeah, we're probably another 15 minutes, and then that's it. We're done. But you have a look here. If you hurt your antebrachial region, what part of that? Brachial. This is one of the things there I want you guys to recognize. It's the arm, the forearm. And maybe you wouldn't know this yet. You'll see it there next weekend or when we do anatomy physiology. So Jill has a mole on her thigh. What is the name for this region of her leg? Thigh. Femoral. Femur. And it's all right. We'll get more into, but this is the direction there that we're going there for next week. And you see how I'm starting to introduce anatomy physiology so that next week there when we do it, a lot of this will stick and next week will be more productive. What is another name for the anterior knee? Aha, you see now we're not just talking a region. We're not talking the knee region. We're talking the front of the knee. That's your patellar region. The back of the knee would be your popliteal. What do you think your pedal foot comes from? Pedestrian. Digital. Fingers. These kinds of things. And, you know, and you have to think that your quiz is going to be 30, 35 questions, and we've got 4 weeks of material. So how much am I really going to ask you from any of these guys here? Okay. The kidneys are to the stomach. So you have to think, your stomach is here. Your kidneys are back here. So it's got to be posterior. And you'll see the answers are all here. And if there's any issues with the answers there, I hope there's not, but the anatomical position, in anatomical position, the radius is to the ulna. And you see here, you'd have to, next week there, when we do the bones, you'll be able to recognize that the radius and ulna are in your arm, okay? And you'll see there that the radius is actually lateral. And we'll come back to these. And I just wanted to show you guys that these are the type of questions there that you could see. Lateral, medial, proximal, distal, anterior. These are all words there that we've introduced there today. But you see how it's kind of impossible to introduce these in a meaningful fashion without going into any detail on anatomy and physiology. So if this is not making 100% sense there today, don't worry. It'll all kind of be all right there next week, okay? What type of section is shown? Okay. And we're pointing there at the side section. It's this one right here, which is now a frontal section. Okay. The mid-sagittal, that's one that's straight down there. Okay. And I guess I should go right here. There we go. And you'll see there that the mid-sagittal is right down the center. Your transverse. Dividing the body into right and left halves is what type of section? Sagittal. Okay. Which cavity is the pancreas in? You see, now you'd have to go pancreas. Okay, where was that? Where is that now? You'd have to go back to slide week number 8, and then your slide 23. Okay, it's in the abdominal. And you guys can have a look at these and go on through. The answers are all there. There's even additional week 9 questions. Okay. I'm just having some fun here. We go into levels of organization, cells, and a lot of this stuff there. I hope there that you guys would already have a little bit of a grasp on it, but if you don't, please read these. And then next week, all this information, I promise, it'll all come together. Okay, the organ system that transports nutrients, waste, products, gases, and hormones through the body and regulates body temperature. We'll get in there. And that's your blood. Transports nutrients, waste, gas, hormones, all these things throughout the body. That's your blood. That's your CV system, your cardiovascular. But we'll get all there. And that's all we're doing there. And I hope that you guys are okay. Talk to me. Any questions? What do you guys got? How's the future looking? What can I do to assist? How are we doing, guys? No questions so far. Okay, so if there's any issue, stick around there. But other than that, I think you guys are in good position. Have some fun there. Look over this stuff. And if there's any questions there on those definitions there I gave you, or if there's an error, I went through the Q&A PowerPoints. But if there's an issue there, let me know. I'll update things as needed. But I think you guys are in good shape. Have a wonderful week and keep me posted. Next week there, we'll have anatomy physiology there, both classes. Your quiz will open thereafter, and you guys will have a week to do it. And I don't anticipate any issues. How are we doing, guys? You guys good? If you guys don't have any questions, get out of here and enjoy your day. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys all next week, okay? Thank you, Kesha. Thank you, Valeria. You guys have a great weekend. Please be safe out there. Thanks, Lemuel. Thanks, Nina. Thanks, Marilyn. And keep in contact. I don't want any issues. If something doesn't make sense, shoot me an email. We'll chat it up and we'll get it done. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. I'm going to stop recording and get out of here. Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carolina.